Wondering how to find good products to sell on Amazon? In this video, you will learn how to use some criteria to find hot products on Amazon using Zonguru's Niche Finder tool. Watch this video for product research tips and check out the link below for a free trial of Zonguru and a special discount code of 20% for this tool.
Hi, Adam. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Orange Click YouTube channel to talk about analyzing Amazon product ideas. So we're going to figure out what's kind of hot product idea and what's kind of not so hot product idea. So before we go into the details, could you first introduce yourself and also let us know how Zonguru helps Amazon sellers?
Sure thing. Well, firstly, thanks, Lisette, for having me on. I'm excited to talk about this. I love product research. I find it very exciting looking for things that going to grow our wealth and give us that freedom back in our lives. So product research is something I really enjoy. Obviously, my name's Adam. My official role is Head of Customer Success at Zonguru. So Zonguru, we're an operational tool set for Amazon sellers. So everyone from just starting out right up to enterprise and agency level clients. We cover everything from product research right through to high-level business metrics, scaling your business, these sorts of things. And we cover all marketplaces. So North America, Europe, India, Australia, all the big ones that people are selling in or potentially wanting to sell in. We provide data and insights into that. So it's really about finding products, scaling those products and growing that business. In terms of myself, though, I'm an Amazon seller as well. I sell on the US. I've also sold previously in Australia, but now I'm solely in the US. And just like a lot of the people watching, building my brand and hoping to get that big exit one day.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool that you're into selling yourself as well, because I think it always gives some kind of additional value also to the knowledge you share, because you know the pain points yourself, you know what kind of data you usually have to search for and then analyze. So yeah, it's cool that you're a seller too. So I know you prepared some slides for us to kind of give us a full overview. So let's jump straight into those. So share your screen and let's start.
Perfect. All righty. So like Lisette said there, we are going to go straight into hot or not in terms of Amazon. So what products are selling or what products aren't selling, and more importantly, why are they selling and why they aren't selling. Obviously, it is a big topic. A lot of different sellers do product research many different ways. But I think it's very important that you understand the basics. What are the key data points we're looking for? What are good data points? What are potentially some red flags that you might want to stay away from? And then after I show you some of those, I'll also show some examples of some real life products that are currently selling on Amazon, the sort of numbers that they're doing and what that may indicate in terms of if you want to get into that niche or category. So firstly, in terms of product research, we really need to be clear on what is a hot product. It's very easy to say, oh, this is an Amazon bestseller, or this one's selling lots and lots of revenue, but it may not have profit margins. So I think it's quite important to understand that every Amazon business is different. Every Amazon seller is different in terms of their, the capital they have to launch into the product, their experience level as well. Some people have been selling for 10 years, other people are just jumping in. So let's look at our criteria. In terms of Zonguru, we like to use our niche rater rainbow, which is these colorful lines that you see here on the screen. So this is for a particular keyword. Let's say it's yoga mats. The niche score for yoga mats is about 51%. Anything above 40 to 50% is starting to look pretty strong, but it's really important to drill down into these 4 different categories, which each line represents one category, just to see where the strengths of that niche are and potentially where the weaknesses are in case we may want to steer away and look at something else. So the first one of the most important is you want to see strong demand. So buyer demand at its core is search volume. How many customers on Amazon or potential customers are looking for this product? Are they searching lots? Is there not many searches? Is it only searched for at certain times of the year? Because, we don't want to stock something that only sells at Christmas time or on Mother's Day, for example, and then we make no money the rest of the year. So the strong demand, it needs to be there. This one has that buyer demand of 60%, which is this strong orange band out the top here. The next thing we want to look for, and in an ideal world, there would be no competition, but as we know, that's just not the case. So low competition or as low as possible. Low competition may not necessarily mean not many sellers. There may be lots of sellers in that niche, But low competition can also mean weak sellers. So potentially they're not using the right keywords. They've been a bit lazy with their bullet points. Maybe their images are really poor quality. And overall, it's not a strong listing. So if you were to sell even an identical product, you could outrank them and optimize your listing and make more sales that way. So for example, this rainbow that I've got here, the competition opportunity is 19%. Now, what we want to see here is a high percentage. A high percentage means the competition is very low, and vice versa is true. If the competition opportunity is 19%, it means there's probably some really strong sellers in this niche, and it may be something that's hard to get into. But it does bring up an important point, because just because it is low, as you can see, compared to these other bars, it doesn't mean write it off altogether. It just means you need to look further into the data to check it out. The third thing we want to look at is it within our budget? Like we said at the start, there's going to be experienced sellers who are going to have large amounts of capital to invest in products. And if you're at the beginning of your journey, or you're a uni student or something like that, you may have less capital to actually invest. So you don't want to be looking at, for example, MacBooks or really fancy laptops or high-end headphones or those really expensive things that are going to cost tens of thousands of dollars just to launch. So you need to set your budget first, and then you can filter through products from there. That will give you an idea with this investment sweet spot. Within the range of about 10 to 15,000 is usually a great starting point, but once again, it's going to depend business to business, seller to seller. Another one we want to look at is a solid revenue potential. What we mean by this is this last red category here. This one is 45%, so it's not super strong revenue potential, but there is still a bit of money to be made there. The reason this is important is because anyone can take their money and put it in the bank and earn 1, 2, 3% returns. As an Amazon seller, it's stressful, it's hard work, you put a lot of time and effort into it. You don't want to be putting all that time and blood, sweat, and tears into it if you're only going to get 2% back on your money. So you want to make sure that you're going into a category that shows that revenue potential, and that you will recoup not only what you've put into it, but make a profit and be profitable moving forward as well. The last one, I would say this is the most important of all, your ability to differentiate your product. If every single person is selling the exact same water glass, there's no way to make yours stand out. So why would anyone buy yours instead of your competitors? Maybe you can make your glass have fancy lights on it or something. It needs to have something that is going to catch the eye. The best way to do this is if you can get a design patent or a trademark, something like this, so that some other seller who's watching this video as well can't just go to Alibaba and buy your exact product and put it up on Amazon. We want to be able to change it, differentiate it so it stands out on Amazon, and it creates that moat around our business so no one else can come after us. So now that we know how essentially the Niche Radar Rainbow works, let's have a quick look at what tools we can use to actually get this information. The first one we want to look at is our Niche Finder. So Niche Finder is nestled under the product research tab in ZonGuru here. What essentially it does is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to help you find a niche that shows potential, but also matches the filters that we spoke about in terms of being individualized to your seller needs or your business needs. I love easy mode because it's just like it sounds, it's easy. We essentially select the marketplace we're looking at. Let's go with UK for now. I've selected all categories because I'm not real fussy about where I want to sell at the moment. And then you can choose Easy Starter if you're new to the journey. Business Builder, that might be something that's more, a little bit more money to get into, but has higher revenue. And then you've got things like big hitters. So if you're already an experienced seller, you've got a lot of capital to invest and you're looking for something that's really going to grow your business. That will change the results that you'll see here. But what I like to do is I use Niche Finder to help me get out of a rut. Sometimes as sellers, we can feel like we've looked at every single option to sell on Amazon possible. I can assure you haven't. There's millions and millions of products on Amazon, but sometimes we do get stuck. So we can do something like Feeling Lucky. It's going to have a quick think, and then it's just going to do a very, very random niche. Now, the key here is you're not looking at this niche and going, oh, I can't sell here. Look at the score. What it's going to do is just spark those creative juices, get them flowing so that you're thinking, oh, I've never thought of this base 10 interlocking plastic kit before, and that will give you a new category that you could potentially look into. You can also scroll through this list here, and you can sort by whatever's most important to you. So if you really want something that has huge demand, you can sort by demand, and then you'll see 91% for articulate kids. If you're looking through this list and you're going, oh, this is really interesting, you can then go to the Chrome extension, which is the second step in validating that product idea. So this is one that I was looking at today. It's vitamins D3. So obviously there'd be a lot of things you need to get right, making sure that's regulated and things. So it may not be great for a beginner seller, but a more experienced seller would happily navigate those waters. So this Chrome extension, you can see we've got our rainbow here. And I purposely picked this one because, as you can see, the buyer demand is really, really high. It's got nearly 4,000 search volume a month, so 78% buyer demand. But the competition opportunity is quite low because there are a lot of sellers, and a lot of them are very strong listings with well-optimized keyword titles and bullet points and those sorts of things. But the big one I want to point out is the investment sweet spot. On the rainbow, it's at 0%. And the reason for that is because the launch budget is $150,000, which for most sellers is going to be out of reach unless you're a very experienced, very big seller. Now, the reason I bring this up is because you need to look at products and niches in context of all the factors. If I just looked at this niche in terms of the revenue potential, 234,000, you would just go, awesome, I'm going to sell vitamins. But what you need to take into account is that if you start selling vitamins, you're going to need about 150,000 just to stay in stock for the first couple of months. So that's why that context is important. You don't want to base the decision on one part of the rainbow. You need to use all those factors together. Now, with that being said, let's jump into some examples of some really cool stuff that the Zonguru team has actually found over the last few months in terms of what's selling on Amazon and why it's selling on Amazon. Alrighty, so our example number one is baby earmuffs. Not only is that baby super cute on the packet there, but they've obviously got their branding really, really well done. It speaks to the avatar, it's going to be mums and dads. They need something that their baby still looks cute. It's going to protect their ears. You can tell that it's soft. You can see that it's not going to hurt the baby or anything like that. You've got different color variations. But in terms of the data, it's looking at about 10,000 monthly sales at $30 US a piece. It's about 300,000 revenue. So it is selling a significant amount of units and generating quite a bit of revenue. On the flip side of that, we have a product that's not so hot, these baby earmuffs. I'm sure you've all looked at that and gone, ew, it looks like a safety construction worker would wear something like that. You don't want it on your baby. You want it to be cute. You want it to be nice, fluffy, all these sorts of things. They're doing 5 sales a month, and you can see why very easily. Just those ones, bad Photoshop, the colors aren't nice. So what the seller, our hot seller, has done is they will have looked at all this information. So they've gone 71% niche score, fantastic, really, really strong, great demand, competition isn't too strong, the revenue's high, I have the budget to match this. And then they've looked at the individual keywords as well. So you can see not just baby ear protection at 11,000, but you can add the 6,000, the 2,000, all of this together, and all of a sudden you have a much bigger demand than what is initially there. And then they've gone, okay, if this is my competition, why would someone buy my product instead of this? I'm going to create better branding, a better use case. It's more comfortable for the baby. And the photos are just beautiful. They look amazing. So that's the difference in terms of looking at the data, looking at the competitors, and then going, how can I improve that product? Another product that is really cool, I thought was awesome, is this inflatable couch. So an inflatable couch isn't a super exciting product in of itself, but they've made really, really interesting choices in terms of their design. So this is something you can see a couple sitting on at a festival or, in their backyard, or, it's a fun vibe. It's not just a very boring, bland, scroll straight past it on Amazon kind of product. It's got a bit of a higher price point. So it's at $42. So at 3,000 sales, it's still making nearly 140,000, which is pretty strong. You know, if I had a product in my pocket doing that, I'd be very, very happy for sure. In terms of the competitor that's not hot, this blue one. It's very obvious, you know, it's bland, it's boring, it's one solid color. Same thing. You don't know how big that is. You know, that could be this long or it might be 3 meters long. The great thing about this photo is you can very easily see the size of it, and you can imagine yourself there in the room that you want to put it in, or in the backyard, wherever that may be. So that's why it stands out visually on the page. In terms of the sales number and why it's doing 140,000 a month though, is because it's got that buyer demand. It's got a great investment sweet spot. The revenue potential is strong. And then if we look at the actual keywords as well, once again, there's multiple keywords that exactly describe this product in the thousands in the search volume, with very strong sales off the base of that. So let's look at a different marketplace now. This one is from the Aussie Australian marketplace. And I found this one really interesting because when I first saw it, I thought this is selling terribly. It's only selling 12 sales a month, which you would go, no way am I selling that. But then you look at the price point and they're selling at $600. So if you make 12 sales, you're making, you know, over 7,000 Australian dollars just from 12 sales. So if you're a bit more of an experienced seller, you know how to package things, you could probably come up with something clever for this drinks trolley so it packs down nice and easy and you can save on shipping. This could be something interesting to look at. And even if you're not in the market for a drinks trolley, if you saw this pop up, it's something that's going to stop you scrolling and you're going to look at it. So there'll be lots of visibility there. On the flip side of this one, we have this terrible looking kitchen trolley. It looks like straight out of the hospital, very boring, nothing interesting about it. It's only doing 5 sales and it's significantly cheaper. You know, no one's going to pay $600 for this sort of trolley. But for something like this that might go in the man cave or a party room or something, they're going to be happy to spend that higher price point. With the data with this one, the volume in terms of searches is very, very low. The reason I've picked this one though is because we need to be aware that when looking at different marketplaces, we can't compare. It's like comparing apples to oranges if you look at US to Australia. Low search volume in the US might be 2,000 or 3,000. In Australia, that's a really strong search volume because Australia is still emerging as a marketplace. It's not as popular yet, but it is growing very fast. So if you see something like drinks trolley at 232, in America, you'd never go into that. But in Australia, particularly at $600 per unit, you don't need to sell many units to make the money. So that gives you that opportunity. And because you've looked at it in context, it doesn't mean throw it in the bin. It means look further into it. And next example, we've come over to the UK marketplace. This is a really hot product at the moment. Once again, not huge sales in terms of units, but big money, £20,000 per month, because the price point is $320 per month for these. At the end of the day, it's just a chair. So what they've actually done is they've noticed the competitors are selling things like this. You know, this is not going to be that high price point. It looks cheap. It's definitely not trendy. The customer avatar is completely different. Someone who buys this cheap one is just looking for something to sit on in the backyard. Someone who's going to pay the money for this one is someone who's really looking at designing their house, you know, the interior decorators or people who are really into the aesthetic of their home and they want to feel comfortable and everything to match. And that's why you can charge that higher price point. But once again, you can't charge that higher price point if the buyer demand isn't there, if people aren't looking for it. So you can see the buyer demand's 71%. The competition is really low on this one. The competition is really strong, which means the opportunity is low. The reason that this one is selling so well though, is because like I said, it's not competing directly with the actual competition. They've gone into the market and said, we're going to sell, yes, it's a chair, but it's not going to compete directly with this one because we're targeting a completely different type of buyer, someone who wants to spend that more money and make their home really, really nice. Revenue potential is quite strong. And again, the investment sweet spot is bang on at about 70% with plenty of search volume over a number of different keywords. This is a cute little one. This is another UK listing that we found a couple of months ago. It's essentially just a plastic tub that you can wash your dog in. The best thing about it, though, is they've made it much more interesting and exciting than just the product itself. Because at the end of the day, it is just a dog bath, but dog owners love seeing dogs. They love seeing cute dogs. So they know their avatar really well. They've put this, I think it's a Jack Russell, in there. They've got little soap suds on his head with the rubber ducky and some nice looking water. It's doing over 1,000 sales a month with 30,000 pounds in revenue at only 40 pounds or 40 pounds ish. So really hot product, selling a lot, moving a lot of stock, and it's competing with something like this. So yes, you know, it's a tub, you know, you can fill it with water, but it's not very exciting. It's very boring. There was only one product image on the actual listing itself. There's no dogs in there. So that avatar isn't going to connect with the product and the brand as much. And that's why it's doing significantly less sales. Once again, what this person would have done is looked at this niche score and seen the overall score being very strong. And then they've dived into the individual points. So again, strong buyer demand, competition opportunity is good, great sweet spot for investment, and good revenue potential with all those keywords down the bottom that describe the product. So increased visibility is fairly easy to come by, particularly when your competitors are doing this poorly of a job. So that was a quick one in terms of the examples. The one thing I wanted you guys to take away, though, was with the niche score, make sure you don't just look at the niche score and make your decision on that. You need to take into account these individual factors, match that up with what you want or what you need in your business, and then you can move through from there. Because potentially what a red flag for me might be, may not be a red flag for another seller. So grab the data, analyze it as much as possible. But of course, if you are going through this process, there's a live chat on the Zonguru website. Hit that one up or go to support@zonguru.com and we can help you dig through this data as well, because there's so much there and it's only as powerful as the knowledge that you guys have.
Okay, thank you so much for walking us through those main elements and giving some comments with the examples, because I think it really helps to illustrate what you mean under those different metrics. And actually, one of my first questions for you would be regarding to measuring the competition. So you didn't touch like what Zonguru how can I say, sums up under this competition opportunity element, but probably one of the things is reviews. And as you are a seller yourself, I just wanted to ask like a general question about reviews. So with each year, basically the number of reviews of the existing sellers is growing. How are the future sellers even able to compete if now, let's see, whatever product we open up, we look at the top sellers and we see it's like it has thousands of reviews. What do you think about it?
Absolutely. My first comment would be it's very, very tough. You know, there's no way around it. Reviews is that social proof that makes people buy. You know, if you see something with 5,000 reviews, even if you don't really want the product, sometimes you buy it just because everyone else has bought it. You know, that's consumer psychology, is how it works. So it's a great question and a great point. There are programs that Amazon provide to help you get reviews, because the average review rate is 1% on Amazon US, which means if you sell 100 units, you'll be lucky to get that one review. Things like the Vine program, which I've actually just enrolled my new product in, you can give out free products up to 30 units. And there's Vine reviewers who, they're kind of professional reviewers. So you send them a free product, they put sometimes a video review, but often just a rating and their comments, and they're non-biased. You know, they won't necessarily give you a good review and they won't necessarily give you a bad review. Their whole job is to give you an honest review, because Amazon knows that if they get more honest reviews on the new listings, there's more chance that people are going to buy them. So the first part of the review equation is make sure you have a good product. You know, don't have a cheap product. Don't let it be breakable, all these sorts of things, because you're just asking for trouble. Make sure it's a quality product. The second thing is enroll in those programs. So the Vine programs, Amazon are always bringing out different incentives. So whenever you're watching this video, make sure you keep up to date with those ones as well. But the other thing is your product will sell itself if you have the right one. If you just try and sell something that's exactly the same as what's already on Amazon with 10,000 reviews, no one's going to buy yours. So if someone is selling a water glass, maybe you might sell a set of 2 water glasses, because then there's a reason for someone to buy yours, even if it doesn't have as many reviews. And what you'll notice about reviews is there's often a tipping point. So when you get to 10 reviews, you notice your sales will increase quite a bit. The next tipping point is around 50 reviews, and then 100, and then 500, and then 1,000. So there's certain milestones that if you can get to them, you'll really notice those sales take off. So enroll in programs, make sure you have a good product, and make sure you're selling a product that's different to what's already on the market.
Okay, very good insights. For example, if now seller has gone through this initial research and everything kind of looks promising, and now it's time to even dive a little bit deeper, I wanted to ask from you, how much do you look like what's additional activities sellers do? For example, on US Marketplace, there are a lot of different tools Amazon sellers can use, like Amazon Post or virtual bundles, or let's say building out the storefront in a very good way in all of the marketplaces. How much do you look into those things and then think to yourself like, okay, this seller must be like working a lot on the account, or vice versa? Like, it seems like they're not, using everything they actually could.
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing is in the Chrome extension, there's a listing score metric. So every single listing ZonGuru attaches based on how optimized it is, how many photos and things, and that's out of 10. So if you're doing your product research and you see lots of 2s and 3s, you know that they're pretty lazy. They've probably just put this up on Amazon. They're working their day job. They're looking after their family. And it's a great opportunity for you to jump in and jump ahead of them very quickly. What I would do, though, is after that initial overview, that's when I would dive deeper into every single category. So then you would go and do deeper keyword research so that you can see not just the buyer demand as a whole, but those individual parts. And same thing with the competition. So I would look at their reviews in terms of not just their star rating, but what are people actually saying? Are they typing, this is bad quality, or the packaging didn't work, or something like that? Because what you can then do is take that and use it in yours to improve on it, make it better, mitigate those risks and those sorts of things. I think storefronts as well, it's worth checking out probably the top 2 or 3 competitors in the niche or the subcategory that you want to look at. Because when you're selling a product, no one launches a product to be mediocre. Everyone launches a product to try and get to number 1. So if you want to get to number 1, then you need to figure out who the top 3 are and see, can I beat them? You need to know those first 3 or 4 selling products inside and out so that you know what to do to get ahead of them. So definitely check out the storefronts. ZonGuru has a love-hate tool as well, which summarizes reviews, gives you like a word cloud of what people are loving, what people are hating, or not even just hating, it just sort of, oh, this could be better. And then the last thing I would check into is the profit calculations. You've got to know your numbers before you go and spend thousands of dollars.
Okay, sounds good. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your thoughts with us. Before we go for today, could you once more give us an overview? What kind of tools ZonGuru has in its software, and what's the best way to learn more about ZonGuru at all?
Absolutely. So like I said, it's full operational tool set, right from you've never heard of Amazon and you want to learn how to sell, right through to, agency and enterprise clients who are doing, $7 million a month. So everything in terms of their lots of product research tools, business metrics, review automation. The big, most important ones, though, are the Keywords on Fire, which is a keyword research tool, because that's the best way to understand demand, and then Listing Optimizer to make sure you can get to page 1, rank number 1. In terms of reaching out to us, though, you can jump on the website zonguru.com or reach out support@zonguru.com. That's an email address. It's monitored 18 out of 24 hours a day. So we'll get back to you very quickly, particularly if you have any questions. We're sellers ourselves. We've been through all the same issues that you guys are facing. So reach out. We'd love to help.
And if you have any quick questions, more general questions, then you can also leave them as comments under the video, and we will ask ZonGuru team to come back and answer those as well. So thanks again, Adam, for being here today, and I hope to see you soon again.
Awesome. Thanks, Lizette. It was a blast.
Are you ready to implement these steps for product research? Head over to the link below to get a free trial of ZonGuru and use the 20% discount code for your subscription. And if you have additional questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below, and we will ask ZonGuru to answer to them to you personally. And if you like our content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And now I would like to invite you to watch more videos about ZonGuru in this playlist, where we cover more features of this suite of tools, and you will see what ZonGuru has to offer. Check this out.